Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Open Up Podcast. How are you guys doing?
Very good. How
I'm
are you?
doing well too. Thank
I'm
you. How are
doing
you
great.
doing, McQueen?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you guys today.
Thank you. Yes.
So,
Likewise.
how has the week been? How was the weekend?
It's going well. It's it these days seem to be flying by for me. I don't understand
They are
why.
flying
This
by.
whole year.
I know.
It's flying by.
And the semester is coming to an end soon, right?
Yes, and so is our podcast.
Right.
Yes.
Or the season at
Right, the
least.
second
Yeah.
This
season,
isn't
right?
the last one though.
No,
No,
it's
no, no. We
not.
still have a
No,
few. It's not?
it's
No.
not the last one. Oh, well.
Um,
So today at this time.
but he's trying not to break the fourth
I'm
wall.
trying not to,
Too
tie it
late.
to, but
Okay.
we're really excited that at the podcast we have someone who had been part of the silent audience who's going to be our guest.
Who's going to be
tonight.
opening up today?
Yes, he'll
Well,
be
he
opening up
will.
today.
I think because Easter is here and we are drinking wine again. He has enough
Yes,
wine in him
in his system,
to
so
be
he
able to
could.
talk.
I
So do
agree.
we want to introduce him right
Yes,
at
I think
everyone?
we should.
I think we
Yes.
should
Okay.
introduce him. Let's go.
So everybody, this is William.
Hello.
Are you? We finally convinced you after however many episodes we have done, and you've been a silent part of this episode of so many episodes. So how do you feel to finally be opening up?
It's a mix of exciting but also afraid because I don't know. Sometimes I'm not really confident with my English, and I'm trying to test
Nobody's gonna
myself.
see your face though. Don't
I
worry.
hope so.
It's
Yeah,
no,
nobody's
it's
gonna see your
not.
voice.
It's just
They're only
voice.
gonna hear your voice.
Yes.
And your English is improving very much. And
Yes,
Thank
we're,
you.
we're happy that
Drastically.
you have the confidence to speak.
yes. I'm very happy that he's here with us because in class he's a different person, and he has long conversations with the professors.
And with friends too.
I
It's a
know.
very
So
very
I don't
different
know
person.
why he's becoming mic shy, but well, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
And we may have another we another person joining at
Right,
some
they're
point.
very
Who knows?
silent.
Currently part of the silent audience.
Yes.
but
Presumably, we'll give her another glass
maybe
of
we
wine.
can convince them to say something. later.
Yes, we will have to convince her a lot.
So,
Right.
what are we opening up about today?
Today we're opening up about the ecology, and Earth Day is part of this month of April. We remember fondly, this is the anniversary of the death of um, uh,
Pope
Pope
Francis.
Francis, who left us those beautiful encyclicals of Laudato Si and Laudato Deum. And he continued to advocate for our care of Mother Earth. So we're going to spend a little time talking about what being good citizens of the world and taking care of the ecology mean to each of us from the different places that we're from.
Right.
As we've mentioned before, I'm the only one from here, and we have people from different parts of the world. And this is the same planet that we saw from Artemis 2 again, that we're all in this together. So, whatever befalls the planet befalls all of us. So, I have kind of a different kind of poem today. This one is kind of well, you'll see. It's called "What is Earth?" To this question of the day, I reply: third celestial body from the sun, located in the galaxy known as the Milky Way. What is Earth? A living being, teeming with life, the planet that gave birth to all kinds of living things, from micro to macro, flying, swimming, creeping, crawling, prowling, growling, climbing, blooming, growing, dying, intelligence in motion, creatures great and small, creating beauty in being. What is Earth? The land and waters over which humans fight to create economic monopolies and wealth for few, raping the mother, killing her children, extinguishing hope, crops to feed hungry mouths destroyed by bombs and military might, plastic pollution poisoning all living things. What is Earth? I say, don't bother me. I'm too busy with virtual reality to care that we are dying to kill ourselves with plastics and toxic waste. I'm too busy listening to my tunes. I cannot hear Mama crying for coral reefs to healthily adorn coastal crystal waters once more, begging for the preservation of rainforests to clear the air we breathe, pleading for us to live simpler lives so that all life can endure. What is Earth? Home to human life on this planet, which is, like the cancer attacking bodies young and old. I will not be deprived of my right to drive my fossil fueled car. I must have my plastic bottled water because the water supply is full of chemicals and plastic. I'm not responsible for this mess I can't even care to clean. What is Earth? A place of beauty created in love, destroyed by indifference.
That's a lovely poem.
It's one of the harder hitting poems that I wrote.
Uh,
Most of them are loving. This one is like
Yes.
almost
yes,
in your
it has
face.
a bang to
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Yes.
it speaks truth to what's happening today, and that's important. I think, like you said, Earth is a place created in love, and sometimes we don't respect Mother Earth. We do things to destroy her. And coming from a culture, sorry about sounding first, but coming from a culture where we plant trees, well, it's a beautiful island that I'm from, St. Lucia, and nature is one of the things that attract persons to come to our island. And we have workers, they call them the nice workers, that would go and ensure and beautify the place with planting trees and ensuring that when the visitors come, they'll be able to enjoy nature in itself. And when I came over to the United States and I saw all of the big buildings and all of the, I was like, oh my, where is the trees? Because I was in New York and there's buildings all over. And I was like, but how do you guys breathe properly? And then you realize how the air is different.
Central Park.
When you go to Central Park, yes, you feel the difference when you're in the city and when you go into Central Park. That is so true. So the difference in knowing how people respect Earth and the amount of garbage that I see, we do have garbage in St. Lucia, but not as much as it has been accumulated here. And persons don't buy a lot of bottled water because we have natural springs. So we would go up to in my community we have a which is Pierrot, which is French Pierrot. Um, there is a spring where you could go and get the water and you fill your bottles, and the water is very tasty. You don't have to put chlorine or other things to that to make sure that you don't get the calcium or anything. So it's all of these things. When you bring up this poem, I am touched because we as human beings are the ones creating that disaster for Mother Earth, and we are not allowing it to be a place where creatures could be great, where the planet could breathe on its own, knowing that it exists because Earth continues to create. And but yeah, thank you for this poem. Antonio, what do you think about this poem? I want to know about Mexico.
Yeah. No, it definitely reads very differently than any of the other poems that we've heard from you and other authors, but it definitely raises awareness to. I think the issue that we can become so immersed in our own reality and our own business that we forget that we all share this home, that the planet that is our home, and that there is so much that is going on that we the when we talk about, for example, borders, that's something that we've made up, right?
Right.
And that in reality, if you think of nature, and the sun, the moon, don't care about these bodies don't care about the borders, the birds, animals, freely go. uh,
Right.
and we've gotten so caught up in our own realities sometimes that we've claimed the earth as, oh, it belongs to us, and we're only here momentarily. I mean, the earth was here for so long before we were here, and it might be here after all of us are gone.
Right.
And we forget that. We forget how small we are, even in just thinking of all of creation. I remember a long time ago I was thinking about how, if planet earth is the only place where there is human life, and thinking of how vast the universe is, I thought, we are so lonely, in this little thing that is our planet. If we are the only life in the universe, we are so lonely, and we're fighting over this, and we get crazy over that, and we forget that we're supposed to take care of it as well. William, do you want to tell us something?
Yes, of course. I think this poem is very interesting. I think it strikes us to think about how many times we normalize some behaviors in our life that are unhealthy for our home, our planet, the earth. And sometimes we don't think about our behavior, how we can help to make a better place to live. How many times we produce so many trash, so many we waste so many water when we don't need to do that, and we think, oh, this is normal, everyone do this, and we don't think that this can have consequences for our planet. And we do have a very beautiful planet with so many places still preserved, but if you don't take care, we will lose this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can arrive in one point when we don't have a way to come back and restore what we lost.
And where are you from, William? Tell us.
Oh yes, I'm from Brazil, and yes, I know. I think sometimes we have a big responsibility to preserve the Amazon. We have 6%, 60% of Amazon with Brazil, and we have this responsibility to preserve this place. But in the same time, some people in Brazil want to use this place to get money, and they used to say that we use this money to preserve the forest and help the people. But we know that in reality this don't happen, and the money go for for some people, and normally the people there suffer because people there want to live, want to grow in life, want to have things. And normally the simple people there try to preserve the forest because they know that forests bring money to them. Forests help them to live better. Forests bring them fish, bring them food, and they want to preserve the forest. Normally it's the big companies who want to get money, who want to use the forest to create how to say the word, cows.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so the simple people want to preserve, want to live there in a healthy way, but normally money wants to talk more than the big things of the humanity.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Bonnie, tell us more about
Yeah.
you've lived here for so long.
And what inspired the poem?
Right.
Did
Oh,
Tell
you see
us.
something that triggered you to say, what is
it
I'm
did.
just gonna write this poem right now?
Yes, thank you for that. As you say, I grew up here in
Right.
San Antonio, and we were raised to take care of our things. You know, my parents were survivors of the Great Depression, and so we always took good care of the things that we had. And when I went to school, we would pick up the trash on the playgrounds and make things better than we found them. So that's been part of things that have been ingrained in me. Um, During COVID, I think I talked about how I discovered some of the walking trails
Mm-hmm.
nearby. And I was just appalled one day that I was going for my walk. It had been after a heavy rainfall, and there was this huge pile of plastic trash that had gotten stuck under the bridge because the water had risen over the bridge. And so it washed all of this trash into this beautiful space. And I was just appalled that all of this, most of it was plastic bottles that people, there are trash cans and recycling cans everywhere on this property, but they were too lazy to take the bottles and put them in those containers. And it just made me very angry. So I took a picture and then I shared it on Facebook and I said, what does this picture evoke in you? And everybody said the same thing that I was feeling, that what a shame that we don't care enough to take care of our green spaces. And it's so easy to put trash in the trash cans. I mean, it's just that simple. So that kind of inspired the story. But we also last year, as at the school, the creation community, the Care of Creation Commission, uh, focused on plastics as the enemy of humanity. And so that also inspired the poem to write about the plastics that are choking us, and the vicious cycle of, yes, the waters are polluted with the plastic, but then we're drinking plastic bottled water because the water is polluted. And so that was something that I just wanted to talk about, but in this creative space. So
Oh,
thank you
that's
for
lovely.
asking about that. Yeah. When I was in grade school, no, high school, my first year in high school, we celebrated the first Earth Day. And I remember what a wonderful day that was because, okay, first of all, we got to wear civilian clothes instead of our uniforms.
Yes.
And then we brought our lunches and had picnic lunches outside. And it lasted into the afternoon. We didn't have to go to our afternoon classes. What we did was we sat on the ground and we talked about the importance of Earth and how we were going to do something to take better care of it. I also come from a family that my father was a farmer, and my mother's family, my grandfather was a farmer. So that connection to the earth was important. They taught us to care for the earth, and so it just really hurts me when I see people not caring about it, and I feel like I have to speak about it in some way.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a different awareness depending on where people are from, and there's definitely a contrast between rural living versus urban living, because I come from a very small rural area in Mexico, and I don't think I mean, I remember in school talking a little bit about care for the earth, but it wasn't really as hard as I see it, like here living in the city or when I moved to Texas 17 years ago. Uh, it was more. I think there was more of an innate awareness that we work the soil and to produce something, and things eventually go back to it, right? And even though there's not a formal education on it, there is this awareness that farmers have, or the people living in the rural area, the countryside, that there was this sort of sense of caring for the creation, because there it's like a mutual giving. We work it, and then the earth gives us something, and so we have to take care of it, and the animals as well, because we had, I mean, there was uh, we had you had different kinds of, like um, milking cows, or we had bulls that you raise and eventually sell off for meat and whatever. But in other areas, right, there's more of a working with nature, I guess, with the animals and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it there's a sense of um, less of a it's a little bit more selfless,
Mm-hmm.
um, the relationship with the earth, rather than having like a 9 to 5 and I'm working to produce money, and I put in this many hours and I put in this much work and that gets me this much money. And so it's less of a tangible way of seeing what the earth is doing for you, and how the impact that we have on the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
while Anthony was speaking about that, I was thinking in the Caribbean, there's something that we say, the earth gives things in its due season. During the time of from I think August to October, you have avocado being grown. You have the certain times where certain fruits have been grown, and that's when we eat them because my grandmother would say, "Your body needs it now." That's why God has allowed it to bloom because this is the time you are supposed to eat the guava because it has certain vitamins that your body needs. So God is saying to you, "Look, eat these fruits, eat these things because you need to take care of yourself." So I remember when my grandmother used to tell us that that's why you have avocado growing the during this season, and you have other things. And then for the chickens, because at my home my father had chickens, rabbits, we had pigs, we had sheep's sheep, we had cow, we have pineapples at plantation, and banana farm. My family had all these things, and then even the chickens would lay within a certain time. They don't lay all throughout the year, but they lay within a certain time, and that's my grandmother used to say. Well, now we eat eggs now, and then the eggs used to be so fresh and nice. The other day we have this young lady Viola who brings eggs for us. Well, yes, this lady she brings eggs to our house, and then the difference between the eggs from HEB and the ones her chicken lays, you could say, look at the difference.
They're
And
smaller.
right, well, it is they are smaller, but the contents on the inside.
Yeah.
So, are we treating the things that we eat with great care? Are we feeding it with lots of fertilizers or other pesticides or whatever, which is causing it to develop differently? That we don't get the natural way of things, right? That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. I also remember hearing these things that there was like a sense of um, I don't know, and I guess in scripture or in religion we talk about the signs of the times, and for me that was also like in a different sense because the farmers would talk about, oh, we knew that it was going to rain because you see certain things or like the birds and whatever. And so like being able to see these things and say, oh, this is going to happen or this is not going to happen, or they being able to tell like without having a watch, or a clock, people who go out and work in the field, knowing when it's time to go home for lunch and go back and things like that. I remember there was this thing that people would do and say like in January, the farmers, depending on the day, they were able to tell whether it was going to be a rainy year or not, and depending on like how much they had to plant or planting. And so it was like, I vaguely remember it, but it was like, the first day of January was supposed to like indicate all of January. The second day was February, and so on. So the first 12 days was January through December, and then the 13th day was December back to January, and so that 24 days, and then the next cycle was half a day was January, half a day was February, so on and so forth. And then the very last day, it was each hour of the day was representing a month. So they were keeping track of these things, and based on that, they would say whether it was going to be a good year for rain or not, and things like that. So it was very interesting. I vaguely remember this sort of things, but there was like this sense of, oh yeah, we can tell these things.
That's
The real connectedness to the earth we've lost by being city dwellers.
Yes.
We
Yes.
hardly even notice the phases of the moon. You know,
Yes.
Right,
we
right.
had a beautiful full moon just a couple of weeks ago, and I would have missed it, except that I do like to go sit on the porch, and it happened to like be very bright, and it helped me to remember how I forget those connections. You know, I
Right.
love what you just said about how the people would be able to predict how the weather would be according to the weather of the first 12 days of the year. That connection with the earth and not being into mass producing things, which is what we have done with our agriculture. We want to feed as many people as possible, but we sometimes lose
Right.
the nutrition. To have everything available every season, it takes away the ability to wait for the next season.
And if you notice, when you have, like, for example, I like strawberries very much. And so if you have strawberries all year long and they're not in season, when they are not in season, they are not as good. They are not as
Right.
sweet. They are not, you know,
Right.
it's not, yeah.
Sometimes it's very watery.
And
Uh-huh.
the flavor is very faint.
Right.
Yes.
But based on what Antonio was saying earlier, the groundhog thing,
Oh
he
yeah.
made me think of that. I don't know about it, but I was just thinking.
Oh, yes. He
Yeah.
usually predicts how much more winter we have.
Okay.
So if he comes out and he sees his shadow, it means that we have 6 more weeks of winter because of the cloud pattern. But if he doesn't see his shadow, then it'll be an early spring. So,
Oh,
yeah.
So
okay.
does he tell us he saw his shadow, or?
No, they make this big ceremony of it. These guys wear big top hats
Oh,
and
okay.
they carry the
Right.
groundhog and they see if there is a shadow, and then that's how they tell us
Oh.
that he saw his shadow. But
Oh, I see.
everybody saw their shadow. Punxsutawney Phil is the name of the groundhog.
Okay. Interesting.
Intéressant.
William, do you have anything to say within? No, you okay?
Okay, brother. I'm really happy to be here with you,
That's awesome.
with Bonnie, with Antonio,
Lovely.
with our silence and anonymous guests.
You're right.
So as we start to come close to an end, is there any question, any challenge you'd like to post? Not only for us here, certainly something for us, but also for our listeners.
I would pose a question: how do you treat Mother Earth? And is there one thing you can do to be kinder?
Very good. Very good. So it's been a pleasure as always,
I
As
know, being
and
with
a
always.
you
very good
guys.
one. And so we hope to see to have you on the next episode of Open Up.
Bye.
Bye.